creepy TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Did you guys know that not too long ago they discovered a painting behind an ancient painting in Italy? And what is shocking about this whole situation is not just there's another painting, like, you know, paintings are all over the place, but the painting is of a guy on a horse slaying a dragon. So this is a painting. You got a blue sky, you got a guy on a horse with a spear, and this crazy dragon-looking thing with bones all around it. But here's the question you need to be asking yourself. Why is it not like a real animal that they drew? Why did they draw this fictional thing that's a total myth and that's not real at all? Why does the Chinese calendar have a dragon on it with a bunch of other real animals, one mythical fake one that's not existent, but they don't have a panda? This is actually two things in one. Ancient Chinese images, they've drawn everything, but they never drew a panda up until the early, 19th century something? Which is shocking. Why wouldn't the panda be on here, but a fake dragon is? Now, you may be thinking, like, maybe they thought, like, it was dinosaurs and they wrote dragon instead. Well, actually, the theory is, what if they weren't dinosaurs, but they were actually dragons? And then, of course, that leads us to the question, if there were dragons, where did they all go? If they existed amongst us, it's like that should be pretty well recorded. So did the history get erased and they got rid of all the dragons? Or did they fly away past the ice wall or something? Like, these are questions you got to be wondering. Apparently, Marco Polo claimed that the Chinese emperor kept massive quote-unquote dragons in a province called Karazhan, which is modern-day Yunnan. According to his account, these creatures were raised by special families and used to pull large royal chariots in ceremonial parades. And what does a Chinese
Flying chariot, you
parade
say?
have today? Dragons, dude. Chinese New Year, it's all about dragons, man. So what happened to the dragons? Comment your thoughts below and follow for more.
Dragons are real. They are Komodo dragons.
What they found on these kids' MRI scans should really start to piss you off. The National Institutes of Health launched the largest study of childhood brain development ever run in the entire country. The study tracked 11,878 kids across 21 sites. Each child was placed in MRI machines and allowed to scroll and watch screens and just let the brain stuff do the brain stuff. And the results even shocked the researchers. Kids with 7 or more hours of daily screen time showed premature thinning of the cortex. That's the brain's outer layer that runs the thinking, the memory, the language, including the putamen, which is the reward center, and the prefrontal cortex, which handles impulse control. See, the same thing that makes a young brain vulnerable is the thing that lets it heal. It's still forming until age 25. Dopamine receptors can reset in about 90 days. So as quickly as developing a brain can be damaged by screens, it can heal. You don't need to throw away your iPad. Just cap it at 2 hours. The data is clear. We're all in danger, not just kids. Share this with every parent you know. I'm Drew Canoli. We're in this together.
You know what? No phones, no iPads under kids 10 years old.
This guy puts a bell in a vacuum chamber and then pounds this bell as hard as he possibly can. And you cannot hear any sound whatsoever. But take a look at what happens when he adds air back into the chamber.
And as we let the air in, now I think you can hear the bell quite clearly. And that's a very nice experiment to demonstrate how air is needed for the transmission of sound.
Air is needed for the transmission of sound. So with this being said, why don't we take a look at this spacewalk where we can hear sound in the vacuum of outer space, which makes literally no sense at all.
Probably the microphone is in the suit.
What medium is this
Just my
traveling
guess.
through? And the void of outer space? That doesn't make any sense at all. It literally sounds like they're underwater. They're probably just filming underwater and they have a green screen Earth and they're just LARPing being in space. Because you need a physical medium for the sound wave to pass through. Because it passes through the physical particles and causes a vibration. That's how sound even gets to you. And that's why sound can travel faster in water, because it has a denser medium to pass through. Sound travels even faster going through metal. But I made this video for entertainment purposes only. Of course, sound can travel in a vacuum. There's a very strange substance that is repelled by garlic, attracted to gold. And when you put this substance up to the mirror, you can't even see its reflection. This substance is called red mercury. Now, apparently you can find it like within old television sets and stuff, but according to ChatGPT and everything else on the internet, this substance is fake. But here is the thing about mercury. If you apply electricity and magnetism to mercury, it creates an electromagnetic torus field, a vortex. And if you also take mercury and then attach it to a television antenna, you can actually watch SpongeBob from anywhere in the world. That's right. So when the IRS finally comes after me, I will be watching SpongeBob in the woods in Argentina. But yeah, it can transmit and receive electromagnetic frequencies, which makes you think, maybe that's why they call Mercury the messenger of the gods. Not only that, but they used to suspend the light in a lighthouse in Mercury so that they didn't have to crank it 24/7 and it would just spin round and round and round 24 hours a day. Isn't that pretty cool? Not only that, but Mercury actually amalgamates with other metals, which means that if you put gold with it or any other metal with it, it will literally blend and create a new metal alloy. So with all of this being said, let's think about all of the crazy infrastructure that we see all over the world. The perfect, beautiful geometric patterns with all of these like spires at the top of the buildings. And the geometry of these buildings literally looks like electrical parts that we use today. So it could be a conspiracy theory that these were harvesting energy somehow, but it is also very likely. It's very possible. Just look at the geometry. And these buildings are so much more advanced than anything that we have built today in recent times. So maybe all of these gargoyles and stuff, these hybrid animals, are symbolic of amalgamations of certain metals with mercury. And that's how you could possibly make red mercury. But I made this video for entertainment purposes only.
Probably vampires is basing on this.
What you are looking at could become the world's first lawless floating city, and it's intended to change the way we live forever. It's called the Freedom Ship, and when it was first conceptualized all the way back in the 1990s, the idea was to create a permanent floating city in international waters so people could escape from every government on Earth and live freely away from things like taxes, laws, and regulations. And because in 2026, that sounds more appealing than ever, the plans to build this ship are now being revived. It can carry over 80,000 passengers or citizens. Keep in mind, the largest current cruise ship can only carry 7,600. It would be about 1 mile long and 800 feet wide and have almost everything a city could offer. Multiple hotels, a 15,000 seat sports stadium, water parks, helipads, a symphony hall, an aquarium, restaurants, and the list goes on. Oh, and to top it all off, it would be nuclear powered. But there's two major drawbacks. Firstly, the estimated cost to build this Freedom Ship is $16 billion. And secondly, the whole no laws idea might sound fun at first, until some crazy shit happens on here that you can't go back from. For example, the company behind this project is saying that they're already being hit up by medical research firms, specifically because this ship would operate outside of any regulatory body on Earth. So, don't know what those experiments would be. But the question is a lawless floating city a good idea or not?
With people, they mean billionaires.
Device was banned by the Rockefellers in the 1800s. These are copper tensor glasses, once used to enhance eyesight and eliminate headaches. As electrical beings, we run on energy. Copper acts as a conductor, boosting blood flow to specific areas to promote healing. People once wore copper on their ankles for knee pain or around their heads for vision issues. These were the original glasses before the current trillion-dollar industry replaced them with designs that often worsen our sight. They even added crystals like amethyst to the center to emit healing frequencies for mental clarity. If you've ever wondered why these aren't sold anymore, it's because the elites discovered something about copper they don't want you to know.
Copper mug.
We have some really sad news out of Europe where the death toll has risen to
Whoa, look at
2,129
that car.
plus deaths, according to weather fatalities and the data that they've compiled out of the various sources
Oh
available. Now,
man,
this is
cats.
1,058 plus in France, 1,029 in Spain, 25 in the United Kingdom, 7 in the Netherlands, 7 in Poland, and 3 in Romania, which is a truly, truly tragic situation. As you know, there is a big aversion to air conditioning in Europe, despite the fact that
Oh
many
gosh.
people die during these heat waves. And it is just a true tragedy that some of the most vulnerable people are the ones who are in these numbers, especially people who are elderly, disabled, etc. And I find it really, really terrible that they are not embracing AC.
Can somebody confirm this? If this is true?
Come July 4th, we may witness the biggest change in money the world has ever seen with the launch of America's digital currency, America 250.
Guys, pay attention. Because this is exactly how Trump's new America 250 plan could possibly make us millionaires before July 4th. I'm going to be explaining everything in this video, so and save it for later. Everybody knows the Simpsons predictions always come true. Just like when they predicted Trump's presidency, even the coronavirus back in 2020, and also predicted Maduro's
July 9 when I make this video.
arrest the Venezuelan president. Now, this is crazy, because in a new episode, we see Trump sitting in his office celebrating America's 250th birthday. What I noticed on his desk was labeled crypto market prices. We see prices for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Trump coin. But what caught my eye was the last one, America 250 coin, hitting $1. I recognized all of them except the last one. And I realized this isn't just a regular meme coin, this is directly linked to the US dollar. Even BlackRock has been preaching for months to tokenize everything. And now it comes out that BlackRock and the United States are now working hand in hand to tokenize the US dollar. After doing some digging on the blockchain, I came across BlackRock's crypto positions, and I see here in their portfolio they actually added America 250. I ran to Coinbase and I see it already has 26,000 holders. It's very low market cap, it's still under a cent, which means this is the perfect time to get in before July 4th. Even prediction markets are saying there's a 96% chance that Trump will announce America 250 before July 4th. One of the top holders of this coin is labeled Trump Team, and this is something only government officials can do. Think about the last time something like this was tied to Trump. It made over 500 people millionaires overnight. This was a no-brainer for me. I got in on Coinbase. There's a lot of fakes out there, so make sure you get into the correct one. Just copy and paste the CA into the search bar. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. But if you want the official CA to get on Coinbase, comment America and I'll send it to you.
Nah, man. XRP. XRP, baby.
So y'all know they had the devil himself's funeral today. Clyde Davis. Let's check out who was there, shall we? Usher was there.
Of course.
Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys. Alicia looking like a dyke. Ja Rule and his wife looked like they was late.
Ja Rule.
Now who is this holding this obituary up in front of Stevie Wonder like he could see it? Stevie was there. Babyface was there, looking like he needed 2 guard. The barber ain't get close enough. Looked like he going a little ball at the top too. Bruce Springsteen, looking young. And Jennifer Hudson's ass kissing ass, going to kiss some more ass before they put him in the ground. Still mad at her. Yes, don't like her. And then hooping and hollering at the funeral, thinking she's singing, but she hooping and then she hollering. Did all that stuff to her family, and all you ended up was a mediocre talk show, thinking you was gonna be the next Whitney Houston. You never got there, and the person that lied to you and told you that you was dead and gone now. Rest in hell, Clyde Davis.
Did you know that this woman donated a pack of toilet paper to the Mexican government to find out where it really goes? The Mexican government said that they were collecting donations for earthquake victims in Turkey. So what she decided to do was put an air tag into her donation to track exactly where it really went. She dropped it at the collection center to see where it would really go. The government said that they collected 30 tons of donations and that everything flew straight to Turkey. But the AirTag told a completely different story. She found that it never even left Mexico City, so she went to go track it down herself. And she found her toilet paper being sold at a public stall in Mexico City. She even made the AirTag beep to prove it was the exact AirTag that she used. And when she asked the vendor where it came from, the vendor had no idea that this was even supposed to go to Turkey. This makes you wonder, where do the things you donate actually go? Are they just being resold so someone else can profit off of your donation?
She sued and won $11 million.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Chicken is yellow, not white. Pasture-raised chicken usually has yellow fat and skin because of natural pigments found in grass, corn, and marigold. Industrial chicken, raised indoor on grain, looks much more pale in comparison. This gets even worse once you consider that 97% of USDA chicken is washed in chlorine, washing away more of the natural color. The result is that white pale chicken can often signal less diversity in diet and no lower micronutrient content. And best you can do is look for chicken like this that has pasture excess, eating bugs, grass, and natural feed.
Watch this. On your screens, you're looking at one of the most undeniable pieces of evidence that the substance may exist in real life. This happened during a recent reunion with the cast of the famous movie Grease. John Travolta appears in public, smiling, relaxed, and looking nothing like a man in his 70s. He is 72 years old, but his face looks closer to 32. Smooth skin, tight features, no signs of regular aging. Now look at everyone standing right beside him. His former co-stars look exactly their age. Wrinkles, sagging skin, time clearly left its mark on them. But Travolta looks untouched, preserved, almost reset. And that's where folks start asking unsettling questions. This isn't makeup. This isn't lighting. And it's far beyond regular cosmetic procedures. The difference is too extreme, too clean, too precise. Many now believe this is proof that something chilling is happening in Hollywood. A rumored treatment that doesn't slow aging but totally reverses it. If this is real, then what we're seeing isn't luck or genetics. It's access. And if some have it, others don't. Which explains why the gap between celebrities keeps growing wider and more disturbing every year.
It's called a facelift.
Guys, this is gonna sound insane, but there is currently a fungus that is spreading from cats to humans that literally eats your skin, and a cat can give it to you just by scratching you. This fungus actually showed up in Brazil back in the 90s, and it lives in a cat's claws, in their saliva, and in any open wounds that they may get. They're saying that you don't even need a scratch from the cat to get it, because they're saying that a sick cat can also sneeze the fungus straight onto you as well. So obviously that's great. Once it gets into your body, it starts as a small bump and then it opens into sores that can travel up your arm or across your face, and in rare cases, it can get into your lungs, your joints, and even the brain. And by the way, they're saying that this version has been more aggressive than the normal one. So that's cool. The only way to get rid of the infection if you get it is to be put on antifungal pills for up to 9 months at a time, and doctors are currently saying that that treatment is starting to fail. This fungus has already spread to Argentina, Paraguay, Chile, and Uruguay, and it just turned up into the UK, and the CDC is saying right now that it's only a matter of time before it's in the US too. 2026. Leave us alone.
My cat literally scratched me today.
Liquor. Alcohol is called what? Spirits. And the reason it's called that is because when you drink it, it numbs your body. It makes you, go numb in the mind, and it allows these different spirits that are just waiting for a vessel to temporarily jump in and do whatever they want.
Correct.
That's why a lot of people will do some shit, be like, I don't remember that at all. It's because it wasn't you. Anyway, so he had been drinking.
Hold on. Say that one more time.
So when you drink, people drink and get real drunk, and they'll say the next day,
they'll black out.
Black out.
That's the word I always hear. I blacked out.
Oh, I have some serious ass stories about that. But And they'll go, I don't remember none of that. It's because it wasn't.
Because you drank too much.
Down. Temporarily, it allowed these, twisted spirits to jump in, do some fucked up shit, jump back out. They jump all over the place.
People end up pregnant, killing somebody, hurting somebody, saying something they shouldn't have said.
One of my clients was a girl. She ended up killing her child because she had a possession after a night of drinking.
Oof. But I agree, though. Alcohol is not the same anymore. I like to drink once in a while. Good whiskey.
That's why they removed copper from swimming pools, because they realized that copper was so antibacterial that it was completely purifying the water that the people were swimming in without all of the harmful effects of chlorine, which we also know is a $1 trillion industry. But also, when the copper was rested in the swimming pools, copper ions were being absorbed into the water, which hold an electrical charge. Therefore, when people were swimming in these pools, their bodies were absorbing this charged water, and we are electrical beings. Therefore, the water that they were swimming in and bathing in was instantaneously healing their bodies. And so if you then think about copper pipes, which are being completely erased, it then makes perfect sense, because the elites realize that when water flows through copper pipes, that water then becomes charged water, creating some of the most powerful water in the world, purifying it to a level no other material can match. This is another reason why farmers would place copper in their livestock's water bowls, because they knew that the copper would keep the water completely pure and charge the water.
Expensive houses have copper pipes, and poor houses have plastic pipes.
Europe is getting absolutely cooked right now. Hundreds of heat records are being broken daily. Thousands of schools are being closed. Public events are being cancelled. Alcohol consumption restrictions are being put in place. And even drowning deaths are soaring as people are trying to cool down in rivers. You see, Europe is officially the fastest warming continent on Earth. But it's also a continent that isn't built for heat, with over 80% not even having AC. So when summer hits, each seemingly becoming hotter than the last, it is brutal. Take France, for example. They have just had their hottest day on record on a national scale, along with over half of the country being placed on red alert and 135 absolute records being broken in a single day. Drowning deaths in the country have also soared to 40 in just 5 days. Over in the UK, temperatures hit 34.6 Celsius, ushering in a number of coping measures like reduced rail speeds, hospital patient appointments cancelled, school closures, and even hosepipe bans. A red health alert was even issued, indicating a risk to life even for the healthy population. Several people have also drowned in Germany over the weekend. Spain's National Weather Agency warned of serious, even extraordinary danger. And Italy's health ministry declared a red heat wave in at least 15 cities. The heat wave is expected to continue for many of these countries over the weekend.
An Oregon man was convicted and sent to jail for collecting and using rainwater on his own property, sued by the state for theft. Rancher Gary Harrington built 3 large reservoirs on his own land to collect rainwater and snow melt. He claimed the water was primarily for fire protection reserves and for providing water to wildlife. But the state called it theft and prosecuted Gary. A municipal code stipulates that all water within city limits, including precipitation, is part of the public water supply. The city requested the court order the removal of his collection system and impose a fine. Despite Harrington's repeated appeals, arguing, the water fell on my land, I'm not selling it. I'm simply using it on my own property. The court ultimately rejected his claims. Harrington was found guilty on multiple charges, including unlawful appropriation of state water resources. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail and fined over $1,500. The incident sparked intense backlash. Residents said it was simply tyranny. If a person cannot own the rain that falls on their own land, what do they actually own?
This is probably in the US, right?
Why would a 140-year-old man boldly claim this is the secret to his long life? It sounds impossible. Yet in a small village in China, tourists say they found the oldest man in the world, now reportedly 140 years old. He lives with his wife, who has just celebrated her 100th birthday. Amazingly, she still walks around actively, gardens, and even rides a motorcycle on her own. When asked about the secret behind their long lives, the old man simply laughed and said, "I just do what I love, and I never limit myself from enjoying anything."
Amen. Actually, the oldest man in the world was 992 years old.
Farmer threw a dead pig into a dry well. After a short while, 70 or 80 mice jumped into the well to eat it. After finishing the meat, they realized that the walls of the well were so steep that it was impossible to climb out. Within a few days, hunger turned the well into hell. To survive, the mice began killing and eating each other. After half a month, only one mouse remained in the well, its eyes red like blood. Then the farmer lowered a rope, pulled the mouse out, and released it back into the field. Did the farmer's heart melt? Not at all. Because this mouse had become used to eating its own kind. It no longer ate grain. Instead, it started hunting other mice like a mad creature. This is called the divide plan. Those sitting at the top do not fight themselves. They simply create an environment where the people below begin fighting each other and eventually destroy one another. And the truth is, many people spend their entire lives trying to defeat others, without realizing that they themselves have already become part of someone else's game. So never fall into traps created by others. And if you do get trapped, don't fight. Find a way to get out.
Here's why certain countries are so much taller than others. And if we take a look at this chart, you'll see that Northern European countries are consistently the tallest in the world, while Asian countries are consistently the shortest. And the reason has almost nothing to do with genetics. It has everything to do with what they eat, which is an epigenetic factor. The tallest countries in the world, like the Netherlands, Norway, and Denmark, thrive on meat, raw dairy, eggs, and fruit. And this is called the ancestral diet. These are foods that are loaded in fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, E, D, and K2 that actually help produce growth hormone, IGF-1, and help develop your bones properly. On the other hand, shorter countries like India have eaten predominantly vegetarian diets for generations. The problem is that they're consuming mainly grains and vegetables, which are not going to be loaded in those fat-soluble vitamins and animal proteins, which the body thrives on to grow and develop. But here's the proof that it's not just genetics. China has always been known as a short country, but over the last few decades, they've been consuming a lot more meat per person, and their average height has increased by around 4 inches during the same period. Same gene pool, different inputs. That's epigenetics.
Who lives longer?
A lot of y'all have asked me, what do demons really look like? And to be honest, there's nothing that really compares to how terrifying they actually are. But I have drawn some pictures, which you'll see in black and white, and taken some screenshots of some pictures by a guy named Jorge Del Diablos, plus some other pictures that I've seen or created in my own spare time of the demons that I saw in hell, or some of them that I saw. There's so many.
You've been to hell?
I can't begin to explain to you, but they're all very twisted and deformed and serpent-like. And so here is just a small sample of what I saw. And I just want you to keep in mind that these things were absolutely terrifying. They're hateful. They're thinking of nothing but evil thoughts, how to hurt you. They want nothing more than to do things just to hurt you, simply because they hate you. Look at these things. They enjoy your pain, your anguish, your suffering. They do. And if you don't want to go to hell and be tormented by these sick, disgusting, deformed, twisted creatures, you have to come to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. This is no joke. And for those of you who want to know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube and you can watch the interview that I did with Ezekiel on the We Need to Talk podcast, or you can even watch the interview that I did with Vlad Prognevsky on God's Voice Today.
For those that claim all over social media that we are living in a simulation, well, you might just be correct. And why do I say that? Because there's a guy on TikTok that claims that he has the code to prove that we are living in a simulation. And it's all being run by advanced civilization, he claims. And we have been living in a 300,000 year long experiment. And his belief is so strong that once he found out all of this information, he actually quit his job. You heard what I said. He quit his job after finding out all of this information. And part of his belief is that each and every one of us, including myself, has metadata. And he actually posted a video that was very detailed to show you exactly how you can calculate your own metadata.
I am giving away my degree for free. If your name is Daniel William Schmidt, I will personally mail you this. It's an economics degree, one of the best in the world. You can get any job you want. I got a job in finance. I quit my job because I realized that we are living in a 300,000-year-long experiment run by an advanced civilization, and all of us have metadata. If you take your full name and your date of birth, you can find your metadata.
Watch.
I calculated mine and I started crying because it was just so unbelievably accurate. And I realized that every single person has this, and that means we must be in an experiment. Every person is a different trial, and the civilization running this experiment is using this data to perfect their own society.
It's an incredible analysis for those of you that have been thinking that you are possibly living in some sort of simulation. And not only did he put the numbers together to figure out his own metadata, he also figured out what his purpose was. And his sole purpose was to build his own America. And with that claim, he says he is about to start doing that. Before I leave you, have a listen to the end of this video and let me know if it makes any sense to you. So hit me up in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you. Listen.
At the top, you have God. God created what I call Civilization 1, and then Civilization 1 created the experiment we're in, which is us. So I'm working on a new civilization because I realized that my purpose is to create America 2, because America 1 has served its purpose. So please help me get rid of this degree, because this is America 1. Thank you.
Have you paid attention to what happened during the World Cup opening ceremony? Because it may have been the biggest ritual ever broadcast on television. When you look at the footage, it becomes obvious in seconds. Billions of people were all watching their screens at the exact same moment. At that moment, everyone was focused on the same event. That collective attention is the most powerful form of energy that exists, and those who know how to harness it can do whatever they want with it. And everything we saw on stage seemed to confirm it. Belinda opening the ceremony with the triangle in the eye, the world resting on top of a pyramid, Shakira dressed in red holding a golden trophy. Some people even noticed that it supposedly wasn't the real Shakira singing that day. There were also symbols that have appeared at every major event for years, very often during concerts, and always the same ones. And the most disturbing part was the first goal of the tournament, scored by Julian Quiñones, who immediately followed it with the compass sign. The very first goal almost looked like it was part of the script. The entire ceremony clearly looked like a ritual, at least to many people. I'm not the only one who noticed it, and that's how it works. The bigger the event, the more people are synchronized at the same moment, and the more powerful the energy produced becomes. And that's why these symbols always reappear during the biggest events on the planet, because those signs are how people show their allegiance and how they supposedly recharge themselves. The most disturbing part is that while everyone thinks they're simply watching a show, they're actually participating in something much bigger without realizing it. Their attention, their emotions, their energy, everything is directed toward the same place at the same time. It's not just an opening ceremony. It's the biggest ritual of attention ever organized, and only a few people are able to see it.
Okay.
So apparently this video is viral right now in India. They captured a creature that looks like a Yeti, but watch. Dude, move out of the way. I can't see anything. Can you move out of the way? I don't know.
Leave the Yeti alone.
What do you guys think of it? I barely got to see it. Did you guys see it? What do you guys think? Is it real? Is it fake? I don't know. A lot of people were filming though.
Real fake. Oh, by the way, the Yeti sued and won $17 billion.
What if I told you humans were built to live 300 years, maybe even more? I'm not talking fairy tales, not Bible stories, not gods or magic. I'm talking real human biology, the kind they don't teach you about. See, in ancient times, China, India, even early Africa, people lived hundreds of years. Not once, not twice, over and over. Different cultures, same story. And here's what gets me. How did ancient people from completely different parts of the world all come up with the same exact lie? Not a similar story, the same numbers. Hundreds of years lived again and again. Different cultures, no contact, no reason to copy each other. So either they all somehow imagined the same thing, or maybe it wasn't a lie at all. Maybe it was the truth and someone turned it into a myth on purpose. The truth is, our bodies were built to last. We've got systems inside us that repair cells, fix damage, even reverse aging. But now they don't work like they used to. Why? Because somebody tampered with the system. They changed the food, they poisoned the water, they filled the air with signals and dust. They gave us pills for everything and made sure nothing truly healed. You think it's all by accident? No. This was a plan, because a man who lives 300 years, he remembers, he questions, he doesn't obey so easy. But a man who dies at 70, he forgets everything and passes it on before he ever figures it out. So no, your body didn't fail you. They just broke it on purpose, and they've been doing it for a very, very long time.
According to a follower who worked on an oil rig out in the Gulf, he said there are things living or moving out in the open ocean that don't show up on any maps, sonar, or any type of training manuals. Now, this story was sent to me by a guy named Tyler, and according to him, he spent almost 4 years working offshore on an oil rig out in the Gulf. And he said before taking the job, he expected the typical things like storms, equipment failures, long shifts, isolation, missing his kids. But what he never expected was to be genuinely afraid of what was beneath the water. Not more than any other normal person is of weird things, right? But Tyler said one of the first things that you learn while working offshore is that the ocean at night has a whole different feel to it. And anybody that was in the Navy or been on a cruise ship, because once the sun disappears, you're standing on a steel platform hundreds of miles from land with nothing around you except that black water stretching out to the horizon forever. No lights, no roads, no houses, no noise, just complete darkness and silence. And according to Tyler, after midnight, the ocean almost seems to come alive in its own creepy way. The first strange thing that he noticed happened during his second month while working out there. It was around 2 a.m, and he had stepped outside during a break to smoke a cigarette and watch the waves go by. And that's when he saw it. It was a light deep beneath the water. Not like bioluminescence or not like a reflection of anything. He said it was a single bright blue light moving quickly beneath the surface. And at first he thought maybe it was like a large fish, maybe the way the moonlight was hitting the water, until it suddenly changed direction, like straight upward, and stopping only a few feet beneath the rig. And Tyler said it hovered there for a little bit and it was perfectly still, just watching. And then it shot off into the darkness faster than anything he'd ever seen move underwater like that. And he later had asked one of the older workers about it, and the man simply just laughed at him and said, "Oh, so you've seen them?" And Tyler was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And the older worker just shrugged it off and he's like, well, it just depends on who you ask. Some call them spirits, others call them the visitors. Most of us just don't talk about them. He's like, you'll just learn to just deal with it. And at first, Tyler assumed they were maybe messing with the new guy. It's pretty typical until the noises started. And he said around 4 a.m, they'd occasionally hear sounds coming from below the rig. Not like any whales or dolphins or machinery. He described them as long, mournful calls, almost like someone singing underwater. Sometimes it sounded feminine and other times it sounded almost mechanical, but not the rig itself. He said there's a very clear distinction. And other times, like he said, it just sounded like metal groaning from somewhere deep below. And every single time that those noises would happen, the ocean around the platform became unnaturally calm. There were no waves, no wind, just nothing, just complete silence, he said. And Tyler said one of the creepiest incidents happened about a year into the job. And one night, several workers were gathered around the railing after hearing splashing coming from underneath. And they expected to see, dolphins or, maybe like a school of, sharks or whatever. But instead, they saw multiple lights moving beneath their platform. And there were dozens of them. They were blue, they were green, they were white, and they were all swimming in circles around the support legs of the rig. And it was way too coordinated, he said, for it to be fish, or, way too fast for it to be divers or anything else. And one of the younger workers joked that maybe, there were secret military drones underneath, but nobody laughed it off, because one of the oldest rig workers standing nearby, he made a comment. He said something along the lines of like, well, they're back earlier than usual this year. And Tyler, being new, had asked him, like, what do you mean by that? And, the guy kind of like waved it off and refused to answer. He didn't really want to talk about it anymore. And then he walked back inside, and the lights remained there for almost 20 minutes afterwards. They were circling, they were stopping, moving again, and almost as if they were inspecting the structure itself. And then all at once, they just disappeared straight down into the darkness. He said it looked like they just took a plummeting dive down. And Tyler says people still tell him, maybe he was probably tired. People that don't work on the rig say that. Maybe overworked, imagining things, but he swears on everything that he saw those lights and he knows that they're real. And according to him, about 6 months before leaving the rig, he woke up one morning after work, and, he was working all night, and he woke up and he stepped outside of his little cabin, and 30 feet above the ocean was a wet human-like handprint on the window, his window, pressed against the glass from the outside. There's no way to access it from the bottom. And he says he never found out who or what left it there, but whatever lives beneath those rigs, he said, knows when you're watching. And he said eventually they probably start watching back. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
I wonder how the girl rowing from Cali to Hawaii by herself feels about this.
One of the strangest places I ever went to was Mount Nemrut. I drove for days on end into the middle of nowhere to the highest mountain in the area. There is these strange statues over 2,000 years old with a tomb under this man-made hill on top of the mountain, and the statues mirror each other. On both sides of the hill are the exact same statues. That's what ancient people did around the world. They mirrored everything. But it is so mysterious, and I always wondered why no one ever talked about it, why I've never seen it anywhere. But I highly recommend you guys to go see this place with your own eyes. The statues are huge. They're multiple tons. It's just mind-blowing, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So why is it there? Who built it? Who actually built it? What was it for? No one really knows, but I just want to show you guys the most mysterious place I ever went to.
The statues are Zeus, Apollon, and eagles.
If ancient humans really built this, the question is, how? Imagine being told to carve a mountain, not build a temple on it, but carve an entire temple out of it. Now imagine doing it 200 years ago. The Colossus Temple is one of the most astonishing structures on Earth. Unlike almost every major monument in history, it wasn't built stone by stone. It was carved from a single solid mountain. Archaeologists estimate that somewhere between 200,000 and 400,000 tons of rock were removed to create the temple. To put that into perspective, that's the weight of several modern aircraft carriers carved away by hand. And here's where the mystery begins. No one knows exactly where all that stone went. There are no giant spoil piles nearby, no massive waste fields, no obvious evidence showing where hundreds of thousands of tons of excavated rock were deposited. Even more incredible is how it was carved. The builders didn't start at the bottom and work upward. They started at the top of the mountain and carved downward, meaning a single major mistake could have ruined the entire project. One wrong cut, one miscalculation, and decades of work could have been lost. Yet the finished structure contains massive courtyards, multi-story architecture, pillars, staircases, intricate sculptures, precision alignments, all carved from one continuous piece of rock. Some estimates suggest that if workers removed just 1 ton of stone per day, Construction would have taken centuries. Yet historical records generally attribute the temple to the reign of King Krishna, high in the 8th century. This has led some researchers and engineers to ask a provocative question. Was the temple completed far faster than conventional methods would allow? Mainstream historians believe an enormous workforce, generations of skilled artisans, and extraordinary planning accomplished the feat. Others argue the precision, scale, and missing debris raise questions we still cannot fully answer. Whatever the explanation, one fact remains. The Kailasa temple is not merely a building. It is a mountain transformed into architecture. And more than 1,000 years later, humanity still struggles to explain exactly how such a masterpiece was created with the tools supposedly available at the time. Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't who built it. It's how they managed to do what many modern engineers would hesitate to attempt even today.
I would love to see this one day.
This man hugged this lady and said, "Praise
Oh,
God," and this
no.
is what happens. Now, allegedly, if you reference anything religious to a shapeshifter, they cannot help but to change to their true form.
Ugh. You see that face? Hey, but I think this came out before AI.
Maybe Michelle Lammy meant to say that she was going to take a nice hot bath after a long day working, because Michelle Lammy be putting in mad work. She don't play, guys. She's about her business. I don't know why she would say such a thing. Maybe she didn't mean to say that. That's why they laugh, because it's a joke, guys. Remember, these people play around a lot. They know what we want to hear, and they know what to say to get us going and saying things about things that don't exist. And they're real good with art. As you can see, she has Rick Owens' face on her like bag or her shirt. But everything is okay here, guys. Don't worry about it. This is cool. This is fashion at its finest. When it comes to fashion, Michelle Lammy and Rick Owens got it on Smash. Shut up! Shut up! But of course, guys, entertainment purposes only, because that's all this is entertainment. We just playing around, you know, pointing out things that people say, knowing that they're joking around. And of course, I don't know anything. Let me know if you know anything. I'm out.
Have
JC is king.
you heard about the Rainbow Warrior prophecy? This is an ancient prophecy that I believe that is being played right here, right now, as we speak. The Rainbow Warrior, or the Rainbow of Light, is a prophecy that is part of indigenous traditions from all over the world. I'm going to speak from the Quero Nation, which is the lineage that I'm part of. I'm Peruvian, I'm Vanessa, and welcome you to this channel. The prophecy speaks of a time when the world was being created after the second ice age. And the prophecy speaks of this being from other worlds that came to teach humanity up around Siberia about astrology, architecture, science. They were teaching how to evolve in this new world that it was becoming the earth. They speak about a time that these teachers from other worlds, that they actually are called the first ancestors of our older brothers, gave us information, and they, through portals created in nature, through vibration and sound, they were able to transport these people to different parts of the world. Ultimately became the different ancient civilizations. They remembered the rainbow as the connector from one place to another. But not only that, for them, the rainbow represents us people, humans, that we carry different blueprint and different energy. Also different looks. We come from different places, carrying different medicine and different imprints. The rainbow is related to the chakra system. And also remember that the earth has a chakra system as well. It's also related to the ancient future prophecy. Speaking of a time where humans are going to be advancing and surrounding ourselves of technology, going too fast for our own well-being, and we're going to be craving returning to the earth and learning from indigenous people, learning from the old way, from ancient civilization, and that is going to be to become more grounded. Because remember that everything that is related to the mind is related to the air element. Is here floating around ideas, and the earth element is related to the body. Right here, right now, our foundation, our root. Are we grounding or are we floating, always thinking? When you think about indigenous tradition, everything is related to the body because we believe that the body is the vehicle. So the prophecy of the Rainbow Warrior speaks of this time. People are transforming, are awakening into new consciousness. This is not only happening to me, it's happening to you, and it's happened to thousands, not maybe even millions of people around the world at the same time. This speaks of this time that all this light is going to become activated. But remember that you cannot activate your light if you don't first face your darkness and your shadow. Deep transformation needs to happen first before the rainbow within you gets activated.
I want somebody to explain this video to me.
Okay.
This video existed before AI. This man over here, I don't even know who he is. I think he's an actor on SNL. But this man shapeshifts from Tom Cruise to Seth Rogen. Look at this in seconds, right in front of us, right? This video existed before AI. Please explain how is this happening, y'all? We have shapeshifters living amongst us, y'all, because look at this. There's no way this is possible in real time. And he's going back and forth between the three of them. And if you listen to what he's saying, he's actually telling us that he's the one that's really playing these characters like Jack Black, Seth Rogen, and Tom Cruise. Listen to this.
So he said it next to me. He's like, I love your work. So it's like, all these heavyweights, like, Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., everybody, and at the end is like me, like, hey, happy to be here, guys. And some other supporting guys, and then Tom Cruise walks in. And even those guys are like, oh, he's super stoked to be there. Like, yeah, oh, boom. Like, he's like, wow. He's immediately excited when he walks into a room, and he's like trying to place me, like I love your work. I went, oh, thanks. I love your work too. Thanks. And then Seth Rogen was like, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard.
I think we're getting stupider. In this 500-year-old cathedral, on the ceiling is one of the craziest things that you will ever see. This is the Rosslyn Chapel. It's in Scotland. Some of the crispiest stonework you're ever going to see, but these are really the point of interest. You may recognize the upside-down spires from Hindu temples. That is because they're communicating the same thing across the world. The speaker cone design of the ceiling is reinforced by the waveform pillars that sits on. At the top of the pillars in Rosslyn, there are angels playing instruments. Now, as you follow the pillar up, you'll see the little nubs. Each one of those is a cube, and on each one of those cubes is a folded up cymatic pattern. As you go up the archway, those cubes form notes and chords. This was discovered by a Royal Air Force codebreaker, Thomas Mitchell. Him and his son decoded this, translated it into music, and recreated a 500-year-old song.
What?
We really don't see attention to detail like this any longer. That's because when the church was bankrolling these things, the alchemists and masons built them. But since very few people were educated, they spoke a language of sacred geometry. This way they could communicate in secret and use the building itself as the repository of their knowledge. We're still decoding these things.
We don't know the meaning of all the carvings. It's an interpretive view.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, we're looking at it from today.
Rosslyn was actually an inspiration for the Da Vinci Code and was used in the book and movie. Once you start learning about the techniques they used in the building too, it will blow your mind. They're genius. Just saying we should bring those back.
Man, this guy video is top notch.
Clive Davis. How do you describe Clive Davis? There's an infomercial about
Oh, for a second there, I thought he was Tom Hanks.
him now, which is a document. It's being called a documentary. And it makes him look like this benign octogenarian that's helped all these rock stars with their careers. But people in the music industry really don't like Clive Davis, most of them. And his criminality is kind of amazing. He got busted. He's been for filing false tax returns 3 times and then defrauding the IRS 3 times. He was involved in the biggest payola scandal. That's when record companies give money to radio stations to play their songs. Mm-hmm. He was part of the biggest payola scandal of all time as president of ABC Records. And then there was a Genovese crime guy named Pasquale Falcone, and he got busted smuggling 22 pounds of heroin into the United States. And the Justice Department started digging into him, and they came across all these shell companies that he headed. And Clive Davis was funneling money from ABC Records to these shell companies. So I've just told you about 2 decades worth of criminality by Clive Davis. And that guy has not spent one night in jail. That's what's amazing about him.
Dumbass. Oh man, look at the water, it's dirty. I can smell the video.
They didn't even try to hide any of the evidence, the jewelry, the personal belongings. In some cases, the cars were still there, as if there was no consequences. This is part 3 to the breaking story out of Jalisco, Mexico, where an extermination camp was found with 3 ovens. It was reported the ovens were still warm. They were still hot. A lot of people in the comments, if you click on the comment, it'll take you to the original video, say organ harvesting. It's not just human trafficking people that are alive. It's how much more they're worth when they're not. And a lot of people believe some of the information coming out in the news story is there could have been whole families that were pulled over and sadly never seen again. And it's very, very common. If you read the comments, people have family members and friends that were living down there for 20, 30 years, and then all of a sudden they were just not anywhere to be found. Never heard of again. Scary stuff.
I have no words.
What's that? Oh, 71 girls ages 12 to 14 were found in a tunnel under a synagogue, and there's 0 news coverage about it, and it should be going viral right now. Tell me more! The story seems a little strange, if you will, because basically what happens is 71 girls are in a park and randomly go into a little opening that they find by a creek and go in there apparently by themselves. The people that are watching them didn't see them at all. There's 71 of them. They end up under the synagogue, and police end up coming and locating them, getting them out of there. Something isn't adding up here. Why would all 71 girls in this situation decide to go in that little opening that goes underground? Then they get lost apparently, and then were miraculously found. No. There's something off about this, and it isn't adding up. Okay.
Josh Hokett is cooked. For what he said yesterday, when they gave him the mic to speak, he might not be able to ever touch a mic again. The UFC fight last night at the White House, and he says something like that, to me, it feels like he's been waiting for that moment, and he finally got it. Although he won this fight, he might have another fight that he probably can't win. Everybody in the crowd was quiet. It was crickets. Few people laughed. But it's not a game at all, guys. Josh might be cooked. I mean, I know it's a freedom of speech and you can say whatever you want, but that wasn't the time to say that, Josh. I don't know about this beat. What he said at the White House and then turned around to the White House, walking away off a stage. Oh no, Josh is done. People are saying the next time you see Josh fight might be in a YMCA gym somewhere, boxing ring or something like that, bro. Go look up that video, guys. I can't say what he said because I don't believe that at all. And of course, entertainment purposes only, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Is Josh cooked or not? I'm out.
He was just telling the truth. People just sleep.
Something massive just happened in neuroscience that should not be possible. These researchers took the deadliest virus on the planet. Then they rewired this thing and they used it to watch psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms, physically repair the brain in real time, all the way down to the exact neurons that are involved. What they discovered in this study changes everything that we thought we knew about consciousness and identity and trauma and even who you are as a human being. So if you ever wondered how one psychedelic experience can change somebody's life, you're about to see the actual mechanism right here. And I don't say this as a metaphor because I know that neuroplasticity is a buzzword now. What I'm talking about is programmable rewiring captured with a legitimately weaponized virus, and the implications are unbelievably staggering. So stay with me, because the breakthrough isn't just what psilocybin does in the brain, it's how we can actually physically control what it's doing in the brain. The last part of this video might be the most astonishing thing that you've ever heard about the human mind. So let me start with the part that feels like science fiction, but it's not. Since 2021, we've known that psilocybin grows new connections between neurons.
Watch this video before it's removed from the internet.
Take a look at this pirouetting lady here. Just look at it for a few seconds. Can you raise your hand if you are watching her rotate in a clockwise direction?
No.
Okay. Can you put your hand up now if you are watching her rotating in an anti-clockwise direction? Okay. Can you put your hand up if you've seen her rotating in both directions?
What? No way.
And how many people can't see her moving at all?
Oh.
Ah, you laugh.
Now
let me
it's
tell
on
you
the
what's going on
clockwise.
here. And you can find this on the web, so you can experiment with it yourself. If you
Man, this is witchcraft.
haven't seen her rotating in both directions, take your focus from the head down to the heel of the foot that appears to go close to the floor here, and then bring your focus back up, and that may actually trigger a change in direction. What's actually happening here? Our optic nerves are linked to both sides of our brain, but only one side of our brain can feed information into our conscious mind at any given moment.
Wow.
So when we are seeing her rotating in a clockwise direction, at that given moment, it is the left side of the brain that is in the dominant role. If we are watching her rotating in an anti-clockwise direction, then that is the right side of the brain that's in the dominant role. Now, if I was to conduct this experiment in any random high street, the vast majority of people today would swear blind that they can only see her rotating in a clockwise direction. And anything else, any other suggestion is just outrageous because they can only see her rotating in a clockwise direction. And that's because
I see both.
Because the vast majority of people,
First, anti-clockwise, and then back to clockwise again, and then anti-clockwise again.
have been programmed to operate primarily within their left brain. And the right brain has effectively been shut down. And that's what we're going to explore as we go through the course of the evening. If you can't see her moving at all, there wasn't anybody that put their hand up, was there? If you don't see her moving at all, now I've never seen this, but I am assured that it has happened. In martial arts, the word is tatsudin, the point of perfect balance. And for somebody who has achieved a mental state, maybe the Dalai Lama might sort of get there, but that's about it, I think. But supposedly, if you've achieved the perfect balance between the left brain and the right brain, then you can actually see her just stationary. I think I've got a long way to go before that happens. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of observations, but before I do that, I want to just get a straw poll here. How many people, can I just have the hands up for all the males in the room under the age of 35? Oh, a bit too many. Okay, I'm going to make a couple of statements here. And let me tell you that if, for the male under the age of 35, it is possible that as I make these statements, you may feel a welling up of anger and frustration. And you might want to jump up and say, that's bollocks! And I know this happened because it happened in Australia. Where's Terry? Were you in that presentation? You weren't in that one? Okay, when it was another speaker as well. But if you do feel, as I make this statement, as I read out this statement, if you feel this sort of anger welling up, and you don't worry about it, because I will explain why you're feeling that way. Here's the first statement. Your left hemisphere of your brain is a hormonally retarded, perceptually limited, and cognitively impaired version of your right hemisphere.
What, you calling me retarded?
Well, it gets better. Your left hemisphere is perceptually dominant. It defines who you are, and it decides who you think you are. The left hemisphere. We tend to refer to the brain. But increasingly, within neuroscience, there is a recognition. Well, in fact, neuroscience, to be honest, neuroscience is effectively dividing into two camps right now. There's the neuroscientists who are the materialists. And these are the neuroscientists, the humanists, if you like, who believe that everything can be explained by reductionist Newtonian science. And that there is absolutely no experience, whilst we are in physical form on this mortal coil, there is actually no experience that cannot be explained. Whereas the non-materialists are starting to say, well, actually, there's a hell of a lot that we can't explain. And what tends to happen is the materialist neuroscientists put a lot of time and effort into trying to demonize and marginalize and dismiss the research of the non-materialists, whilst the non-materialists don't waste their time responding. And so within the non-materialist neuroscience camp, there is the increasing recognition that actually to refer to the brain is wrong. It's a misnomer. Because although we have an organ within the cranial cavity, it's actually two organs. The left brain and the right brain divided by the corpus callosum. And the increasing recognition is that these two sides of the brain perform very, very different functions. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that those who think they're the rightful rulers of the planet have actually known this for a long, long time. And so they've made a tremendous effort, a brilliant effort, to keep people locked into the left brain, the seat of the ego. And a lot of research, the reason I said about the under 35s, there's a lot of research has shown that because of all the programming that takes place, for a lot of the male population, it's only when they get to about the age of 35 that they actually start to move away from the focus on the self and start to recognize that, well, maybe there's other people and maybe they can enjoy life more if they open up to a more open relationship with other people. But up until that point, and it's no fault of their own because it's part of the programming, they focus very much on the self.
Chick-fil-A has now become the latest restaurant that has a lot of explaining to do. And why do I say that? Because a woman, while on her lunch break, stopped in at a Chick-fil-A to get herself a chicken sandwich, just something simple, a bite to eat, so to speak, for lunch. She noticed when she bit into the chicken, the texture was kind of off. And the chicken is now being labeled by many as spaghetti meat. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, have a look at this video for yourself. Check it out.
I was really giving Chick-fil-A another chance, but their texture has been disgusting. I took the first bite and I couldn't even get the fucking chicken apart.
What is it?
Oh my God.
Just have a look at that right there. Does that look normal to you? That's
that?
the term right there that people are now labeling a lot of fast food products as spaghetti meat. Just take a look at that separation right there. It's all gooey and gluey. It's just gross. So I guess my question to you is, when was the last time you visited a Chick-fil-A? Did you have any concerns about the quality of the meat? Did you come across exactly what this young lady did? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
If you suddenly smell something burning but nothing is on fire, do not ignore it. You might think it is just a neighbor cooking or a trick of the mind, but your senses are likely picking up on a presence that your eyes cannot see yet. Let me explain. In the paranormal world, sudden unexplained scents are known as clairaudience or clear smelling. It is the ability to sense spirit energy through odor, and the specific type of smell tells you exactly who or what is visiting you. If you smell fresh flowers, rose water, or old pipe tobacco, don't be afraid. This is usually a past loved one or a guardian angel letting you know they are watching over you. It is a sign of comfort and protection. But if you smell sulfur, rotting meat, sewage, or something burning like garbage, you are in serious danger. These are the signature scents of dark, demonic entities and malevolent spirits. They carry the stench of decay and the fires of hell because they feed on destruction and chaos. Ancient demonologists warned that these entities project these foul odors to weaken your spirit and lower your vibration before they attack. If this happens, pay attention to the room. The air often turns freezing cold, and you might feel sudden nausea or dread. It means the entity is manifesting physically and trying to claim space in your home, so trust your nose. Is it a sweet visit, or is it something that crawled out of the dark? Comment yes if you're interested and share this post so more people can see it.
I'm protected by the blood of Christ.
This tech turns the desert into farmland in just 7 hours. And soon we might see farms in the deserts of Nevada and Arizona. Sounds impossible, but it's already happening. Because a company from Norway called Desert Control developed something called liquid nanoclay. So here's the problem. Most deserts to farmland projects fail. Like the Great Green Wall of Africa, where 80% of the trees died because of the bad soil and the water either evaporated or drained away. But this tech changes everything. Liquid nanoclay coats sand with clay and turns it into soil. Now it holds water like a sponge. But here's the crazy part. What takes nature 7 to 15 years only takes 7 hours with liquid nanoclay. That's over 10,000 times faster. And in real tests across the Middle East, it cuts water usage by 50% and increased crop yields by up to 62%. So one final question. Could this tech solve world hunger? I share climate tech stories like this every Friday. Link in the bio.
It could, but they won't let it do it.
Watch this.
One of the most hated men on the internet built a career tearing people down and spent years mocking Christianity.
Are you a Christian? No. I just am too practical, rational. Things like if God were real, then why does cancer exist?
Yes. Group of people. And I don't need to be redeemed. It started with the flu. And within days, he developed an ulcer, which tore a hole through his stomach lining. Doctors spent 5 days trying to find it, but couldn't. And when they finally went into surgery, they found infection everywhere, surrounding his internal organs. The infection kept spreading, his lungs filled with fluid, and one night his heart became so unstable that a rapid response team had to be called into his room. And on top of that, while he was in the hospital, he developed a second infection. Now, he eventually pulled through, but when he was finally able to talk again, he got on camera to tell the world what happened to him in the midst of all of this.
One of the most special things about this experience is that God presented himself to me.
Amen.
It was not a feeling. God presented himself to me. I'm so grateful. I'm excited to start taking the kids to church every week and to just know that God is real.
God will not be mocked.
This is so powerful. Check this out.
There's a law in physics that basically says that when you have energy that is vibrating at a particular frequency, within 17 seconds, other energy like that will be attracted to it. So if I'm having a positive thought or a negative thought, then what happens is that energy is attracted to it. I have other thoughts that are like that thought. So if you do that 17 seconds, for 68 seconds, then momentum begins to occur. So let's say that I'm normally, all of our emotions have a frequency to it. So if I'm in despair or anger or worry, all of those are lower, denser frequencies. You get into things like contentment, happiness, joy, love. Those are higher, faster frequencies. So let's say that I normally live in contentment. And that's my set point, because that's where I live. I think about that all the time. That's what my makeup is, that sort of thing. So I'm driving down the highway. All of a sudden, a car cuts me off, and I get angry. So now I'm in the lower, denser frequencies. And so then I go back to the office, and I'm telling all my colleagues, here's what happened. This knucklehead cut me off. Go home, tell my wife that. What am I doing? I'm vibrating angry energy. So I go to the supermarket, and there is somebody in line. I have 3 items, and I'm getting in line, and somebody ahead of me has 38 items. And the guy that's running the cash register, it's his first day, and he's not doing very well. He's very slow. Is that a coincidence? No, it's something for me to get angry about. So I'm attracting into my world whatever it is that I'm vibrating. So where my thoughts are, that's what's creating my reality.
Wow. Okay. This is so powerful because think about it. You've been sending out a signal to the universe your whole life. Every worry, every doubt, every I'm not enough. That's energy. And the universe, it's been matching it perfectly, just like it's designed. Now here's where it gets magical. When you hold a new thought, a new feeling, a new intention, for just 68 seconds, you can call in a completely different reality. Something that small can reshape everything. Let that sink in and take your power back.
So is it just about being positive all the time? All right, folks. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you like my lineup. Don't forget to subscribe, likes, hype. Okay, so you won't miss my next video. Follow me on my Instagram at Brosky Ray. Have an awesome day. God bless.